3 yards, mainly just one hole. At 20 yards, still all center mass. Right, not a bad. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not bad for 20 yards. And these are my 2 slug impacts. And that's with the 8 pellet Federal Flight Control. Welcome to Morlock's biased raving review of the Beretta 1301. This thing's going to sound like a corporate sponsored commercial, as most of the reviews on these things sound. You would be hard pressed to find a negative review of a Beretta 1301. And that's for a couple different reasons. One, it is an excellent firearm, as I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes beating into you. The other thing is it's expensive. This thing set me back about $1,400. If you're looking for one now, you're probably going to pay within $100 of that. And the simple fact is very few people who spend $1,400 are willing to then immediately trash talk their purchase. So there's a lot of bias out there, and you're definitely going to see a lot of bias in this review, but I really like it. I'm really excited about it. I was excited about it for a long time, and I'm glad I finally have one. And you're definitely going to see that enthusiasm over the next 20 minutes. So just some context on my perspective on the 1301. Above it, we have the Remington 870. This is a pre-express model. I bought it as an 18-year-old. It was kind of my first firearm purchase. We see here the rub marks on where it sat in a police cruiser for some time. And I have a lot of time and a lot of rounds through this particular firearm. If the purpose of this video was to convince you to buy a Beretta 1301, I'd have to start by first convincing you that a 12 gauge shotgun is God's gift to CQB. This is where things get a little controversial, but if I had to pick a weapon system to train someone on that would make them the master of their domain, that domain being a standard American residential home where all the bad guys are in the same building, the shotgun's an easy choice. Mainly because most of the training and skill development with a shotgun is on the manipulations, getting it loaded, getting it ready to fire, firing it, and kind of doing things from there. Very little of it is focused on marksmanship, especially when compared to a pistol or a shotgun. I'm not saying training's not needed, it absolutely is, but unlike other platforms, the training kind of ends with manipulations and you can start going into the tactical application stuff instead of spending the rest of your life developing your marksmanship. Now, here's another place where the semi-auto shines. It cuts down on the manipulations or the margin of error. See here, I kind of trick stroke that pump there. A semi-auto shotgun is the fastest way to get someone undeniably effective against 2 or more attackers. The next easiest would be a rifle, like an AR-15, but it would still take significantly more training than it would with a shotgun. Now, obviously, a rifle does have its advantages, and you could say it's much more versatile than a shotgun, but if we're looking for a purpose-built tool for CQB, it's hard to beat a shotgun. Now, it is easier to get to that level of effectiveness with any long gun when compared to a handgun. It just takes a lot of training and practice to get multiple follow-up hits on one target and then transition to another when compared to a long gun. So as far as a semi-auto shotgun goes,
when you absolutely positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room except no substitute.
The 1301 Tactical that I purchased was the edition that was released earlier this year. It comes with a 7-shot tube and a Mesa tactical stock or the traditional Monte Carlo. Comes with a 7-round magazine tube and a polymer magazine tube clamp. It has a QD slot for a sling on both sides as well as a single M-lock slot on both sides. Like I said, it is a cover, not a standalone magazine extension. This factory magazine actually extends out to hold 7 rounds. Right? And this is just a plastic cover. The threads for it are up here. And this plastic cover is what provides tension onto the barrel nut that keeps the whole barrel in the action. It came with the Mesa pistol grip Benelli style stock, which I was actually a pretty big fan of. It supported many manipulations. It made it feel more similar to a 20-inch AR than a shotgun, which can be a plus for some or a minus for others. But it did not hinder manipulations at all, and kind of made CQB stuff a little more familiar if you were used to doing it with an AR-15. Now I should still have enough room to keep that up. It is currently configured with the pictured SGA stock from Magpul. That's a Mossberg version. It's attached via a GG&G stock adapter. That's right, Aerodis is not the only name in the game. However, the only reason why I swapped it over was I happened to have a spare SGA stock available to me for free, just lying around. So I made that change, but there was nothing wrong with the Mesa tactical stock that it came with. The length of pull is fine, works fine. It's very familiar if you're used to shooting an AR-styled firearm. I just had the SGA lying around. I will say that the SGA stock makes it more familiar if you have a lot of time on a traditional shotgun. However, if you don't and you kind of have a lot more time on an AR-styled firearm, then perhaps the Mesa is the stock for you instead. Next, let's see how it patterned with non-federal flight control. Trust protection, buck, same up drill. I'm at about 2 yards now. That's the pattern for that trust security. I actually got a better pattern with the S&B. This here's our pattern. Usable for sure. Doesn't leave a lot of margin for error though, in my opinion. So I would 15 it in for that round. Slugs, rifled slugs. Let's see that close steel there. All right. .161. This is Rio low recoil. See how it goes there? Let's try that that smaller, longer steel up there. Here we go. A little to the right. Pretty solid. Bar steel again. It likes that federal. That federal's right on. It's that. It's comfortable with slugs. I mean it. I really mean that. And stuff. But I just kind of wanted to show how easy this was to keep fed. Right? It just, for some reason, things just kind of glide up into where they have to be. Right? So let's do a side saddle. And we can top that off with side saddle some more. I get it. You want to fight with what's on the gun or in the gun. Fanny pack. Trick with the fanny pack is only have the pouch with the ammo in it open. Right. I've heard grab around if the brass is to your pinky, come up under. I've heard if it's top of your hand, you can come over. I just like coming under. I like coming under it. So no matter what, I tend to do that. All right, under. Guess that was over, wasn't it? But it's just very easy to kind of guide everything where it has to go without kind of looking. And I think that's kind of designed that way. Like it's all just goes up into the gun, right? The safety coming off is fantastic. Going back on, you do have to change your grip. It's not like an AR where you can just toggle it back and forth. but that's all right. What's the, let's see, shoot one, load one, shoot one, load one, shoot two, load two. Supposed to stay moving so they can't hit you, right? All right, like I said, that's my only thing. If I could change one thing, and it's already superb, is being able to go back onto safety as easy as the safety comes off. And where it is right here is a huge step up over like normal cross bolt safeties. I will say, if you're one nice thing about like Mossbergs though is that you can toggle it on and off with your thumb. So I guess that's the only thing that would beat this. But as far as, you know, safety on, there's a 0.56, right? Or the safety off, I should say. It's sweet. Both the Mesa Tactical and the SGA stock allow short stocking. Very important technique if you are doing CQB room stuff. Hide this room. All right, ready to make enter. And that is the main criticism of any shotgun for home defense or CQB use, is a kind of how hard they are to maneuver when compared to a short AR or a handgun. But just understand that if you have the right techniques and you have the practice, being able to stop an attacker with a single round is, one, easier to legally justify, and two, tactically better. Langdon has a better cleaning video than this, so I will refer you to that. But I just wanted to show you kind of how much carbon fouling we had after about 300 rounds. Not much, and this is all chrome, so it wipes off relatively easy, right? No solvents. I'll probably hit it with some mineral spirits here, just to kind of clean it up and set it aside. These things are relatively easy to break down. I would say no more or less challenging than an AR-15. The bolt has some kind of similar properties to it. But yeah, easy to take down and easy to clean. 200-300 rounds, not a lot of fouling at all. I see why these things can definitely go, thousands of rounds between cleanings. They're just, all the fouling seems to stay up in the gas system where it belongs. Typically, I keep this thing stoked with 6 rounds of Federal Flight Control 8 or 9 pellet double-aught buckshot, depending on what I have on hand. In the magazine tube, I keep 1 on the lifter and cruiser ready, and the chamber empty. On the side, I have 6 Federal Hydra-Shock rifled slugs. The reason why I keep in this configuration is, 1, I like cruiser ready. I rack the charging handle and it's ready to fire. And 2, the reason why I don't max this thing out with 1 in the tube, 1 ghost loaded, and 7 in the magazine for 9 total is this gun is already kind of limited on its versatility. And so I keep 6 rounds of slugs on the side so that if I find myself in the wrong kind of fight that this gun was meant for, I can cycle the 1 on the lifter out for a rifled slug and then put an additional rifled slug in the magazine where I've left space for it. That gives me 2 projectiles that I can send a long way away if I have to, and then hopefully I have enough time to keep that up if I need to. So that's why I keep in this current configuration. Also, I tend to also have a TLR 1 weapon light on it as well, as pictured here. So I have between 500 and 700 rounds for this thing. Birdshot, buckshot, slugs of different types and loadings, and I haven't had a single malfunction. Now with a slug changeover drill, sometimes the lifter will kind of interfere with the smooth insertion of that exchange slug round, which you can see in some of the videos I've included. But other than that, I haven't had a single malfunction at all. It is simply a solid, reliable, high-performing, well-handling shotgun, and nothing else on the market touches it. In spite of it not being my most versatile gun, it really is my favorite at the moment. It is just simply the master of its domain. This thing's really fun to shoot, and it's hungry, and ammo just ends up in the gun again. And then before you know it, you've gone through all your tokens and it's time to stop playing the game. But Beretta 1301, tactical, right? Sweet gun.